That day, the fall of Shiganshina, Part 2.
For they are the prey and we are the hunters. I just love that intro in whatever language it's in is actually just awesome. I think it just gets me hyped and excited, and it's even better this time around because I'm focusing more on the animation and just the colors and the voices as opposed to going and having to detract from that to go and read subtitles. So, well, hello, my brothers and sisters of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, am Jim, here to bring you another review on the awesome and really just wonderfully done, grisly, never know when some main character's going to die, tale of Attack on Titan. And honestly, this is a really cool thing. I've got my whole family watching for the most part. We decided to let our 7, almost 8-year-old watch it. I know it's a little bit bloody in spots, but you know what? Don't judge me. When you have your own kids, maybe you can. But the bottom line is that with everything that kids are exposed to nowadays and everything else, we feel like we're decent enough parents that that he can understand that this is obviously this fictional story. And to be honest with you, there's some blood in there, but a lot of things are done off camera and you just see like the splurting of blood and everything else. So we just thought it was a cool thing. And he was excited, just to kind of hear about, my oldest son James talking about it last week and everything. So he wound up watching it with us as well. But nonetheless, though, a very, very cool episode. Obviously, the first episode left you hanging. It did. It left you hanging. The Colossal Titan had appeared out of nowhere, busts a hole in the wall, and Shiganshina is being overrun by Titans, right? And then of course, the end of it being, Eren and Mikasa, or Mikasa as they call it, her in here, which still kind of bothers me, but I'll get used to it, being carried off by Hannes, and of course, him seeing from a distance, his mother being devoured by a Titan. So this episode really, the first half of it is very sorrowful and depressing. You see people just kind of trampling over each other, trying to get out. The problem with the way that it's set up with these walls is that at each corner, I guess you would say, not even corner, the wall is round, but at each, north, south, east, and west, there is almost like these little inlets or culverts where the wall is, it's basically where they put like the lower class citizens, it seems like, and stuff, because those walls attract more attention from the actual Titans. And the way it's set up is that you have this little sort of inlet, this little culvert, and if they break through the one wall, you can keep it concentrated just in that area, right? And you would lose just that small portion, that small city, as opposed to that whole area inside the wall. Well, the shit hits the fan very quickly. Things escalate very quickly, and the problem with this whole design is that there's only one exit, only one gate for people to go and evacuate from. So it's more or less just like, hey, listen, the rent's low over here, but, if the Titans ever break in, you're pretty much fucked. And that's the whole deal. We see as Eren and Mikasa wind up getting onto a boat because they go through these canals, this waterway to get them out of there. We wind up seeing some of the Survey Corps, or some of the really it's actually just some of the guards in general. It's not actually the Survey Corps because those are the ones that go out. It's the wall guards and what have you. Firing these archaic and antiquated cannons that are not doing any damage. And what winds up appearing is, because they're trying to hold the Titans back to block that retreat, to protect that retreat and evacuation of all the people. And all of a sudden we wind up seeing, for the first time, this armored Titan. And it was so cool, too, to wind up doing it. To tell you the truth, I wish I had captured some of it on camera, and I'll try to in future episodes. But at the time, our little one, our 2-year-old, was actually sleeping on my chest. He's been very sick, so he was falling asleep. And I wasn't able to tape it, but you should have just seen like just the jaws drop on my 7-year-old, my 13-year-old when this armored Titan appeared. Because at first they're like, "Whoa, it's another colossal Titan." They're like, "No, wait, it looks like he's got armor," And so anyway, this dude winds up going and gearing up and just boom, smashes right through that next wall, now opening up everything behind wall Maria, or they call it Maria, but whatever you want to call it, you get the idea. So now the Titans go, and we just kind of see through a montage and whatnot that the Titans went, people pulled back as much as they could, but the Titans went and flooded into and now have that first first outer circle, I guess you would say, of all that space and what have you. The one thing that when I saw this on the first, watch through, when I watched it last year, and even when I read some of the manga, that I don't understand is that those other 3 culverts, the north, west, and east, even though they'd be cut off from supplies from the rest of the interior, did they just evacuate too, or did they just hold their position in their cities because they still have walls completely surrounding them? That's a question that, if you can answer it, by all means, let me know in the comments down below. But really what winds up happening is it's a very sorrowful episode. We wind up finding out that about 250,000 people wound up, having to fall back and what have you. Many lost their lives in the initial invasion, but as everyone pulled back into the next interior wall, this happens a lot during times of war and times when you're under siege and what have you. There's just not enough food to feed everybody. And what winds up happening is that, and we've seen through a very sorrowful montage, the government, I guess the power in the governing body in power or whatever, more or less just goes and says, listen, and they don't come around and say this, but what happened is they couldn't feed the people that were there, so they basically went and sent them out to go and try to reclaim back Wall Maria, right? Or Maria, whatever, and take out these Titans. 250,000 people were sent to their deaths. Less than 200 survived. Now you do the math on that one. That is a genocidal slaughter in every sense of the word. That is going and putting and it's 1/5 of the world's population, they tell us. So there's only about 1.2, 1.3 million people alive total, right? And you just sacrificed 20% of them to the Titans so you could solve the food shortage problem, And just absolutely disgusting to go and see. And when you see things like that, it makes you think about, our government today and the government societies. And here in the U.S., certainly it's not as bad as that. But things like this have been done throughout history in many other countries, where they just led people to the slaughter, lambs to the slaughter, so to speak, just to go and to solve a problem that they had. And anyway, I'm not going to get into the political aspects of it, but it's very nice to go and make those ties to just kind of the real world when you see something like this. So we wind up seeing it's several months later or what have you. I'm assuming after this offensive happens, and you really wind up focusing a little bit on kind of Eren and his pain, and Mikasa and Armin. And really what it is that, everybody lost somebody, right? But Eren he vows to go and kill the Titans, and this is really the start of his journey, his arc, because he wants to destroy every last one of the freaking Titans. And to do that, he and Mikasa and Armin wind up talking about joining, the Survey Corps, obviously, or, basically going through for cadet training. There's 3 different branches that you can go into, which I'll go into more in the next episode. But for the most part, just, hey, we're going to join up for this fighting force, right, and do something about it. So they wind up all agreeing and just kind of do like a little, 3 friends pact, hands in the middle type of thing, like, hey, we're going to do it. And then the end of the episode winds up being you're introduced to, and I think the voice actor that does the English voice for this, Keith Sardis, he's the real, just kind of real mean drill instructor, So he's just the, you stupid worthless piece of shit private pile. He's that guy from Full Metal Jacket, And he's just, you see him yelling at people about you're worthless and you're this and you're that. And what it winds up being is this is actually, this is the beginning of a 3-year training program that everyone's going to go through, So we wind up seeing, a number of different characters that haven't, been formally introduced yet. But it's very, very cool, again, to see this. The animation is done so well. And honestly, after seeing a couple episodes now, I can't find anything wrong with the English dub. How they say Maria instead of Maria, and how they say Mikasa instead of Mikasa. Little things like that, yeah, they do irk me a little bit, because that's how I always pronounced it in my mind, was Mikasa. That's how I did it. But it's not really that big of a deal. It's not a deal breaker for me. And honestly, I know that there's some dubs that are done better than others, and I think this is one of them that is really done very well. Only time will tell. We'll see as the season kind of goes on over here. But personally, there's some that are just to be haters. They're just haters of dub. That's just how it is. And there's some that are haters of subtitles. That they just won't watch it. I, for most of my life, would try to stay away from things with lots of subtitles, only because my bad vision. It was tough to follow what was on screen. Now, as DVDs came around, and it was much easier to be able to go and just pause that section right there without any blurring and be able to read the subtitle at your leisure, and DVRs and things like that. I've accepted them more, But for me, much better to go and focus on what's especially this, because the visual aesthetics are so beautiful in this. The animation that is in this, I mean, it's just it's primo animation. It's good stuff. So I certainly hope it does well on the Toonami block. And it was kind of nice because I wound up sitting around with the kids, and we wound up watching afterwards. You know, it was this Saturday, of course, this past Saturday that it was on. But we wound up watching a couple of other episodes as well on Toonami, and just a very cool block that's on there. So very good stuff. Certainly would like to know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. But my episode question for you, though, brothers and sisters, is what are your thoughts on this government and this body of government, or whatever you want to call it, right? Royalty that makes the decisions, sending one-fifth of the world's population of humans that are left, right, after they've already been decimated over 100 years ago by the Titans, sending one-fifth of them to their deaths. Let me know what your answer to that question is in the comments down below. Feel free to hit the thumbs up, the like button if you should think that I deserve it, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. We will look forward to catching all of you in the next Fun Nation.
Remember to follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, even my other channel.